Hello, my good and faithful friends all over the world. We're already up to 83 viewers. That is wonderful. Thank you so much for tuning in. I enjoyed our little chats this morning here. Someone asked why I even bother to put the 30 minutes on the front of this. Well, that's exactly why. I get to chat and talk to people, and I can't do that while it's live here, and it also gives people a chance to find it live if they want to join in live. And like someone pointed out in the comments, it also lets you know when it's going to start. If you have something to do, you can run off and do it and come back. So anyway, we're doing well on that end. I've got my outline here, and you can see I got quite a few things to cover. I don't think this is going to be a real long shop talk. And I do think it'll be a fun one, though, and I think you'll enjoy it. There's some good stuff. I made several little short clips that I'm going to interject in here. The first thing I want to mention is that we'll be at Mountain View, Arkansas next weekend. Actually, it'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That'll be the June 10th, 11th, and 12th. So don't plan on a shop talk next Friday, unfortunately. However, if the situation would happen to occur and I could do something live from down there, I'll try it. You just never know. I don't think that'll happen, but you just never know. So anyway, if we can do something live down there, I'll try to make it about the same time Friday morning as well. Anyway, I just want to clarify a few comments that have come in over the last couple of weeks about the rental retreat, and specifically about the guitar neck that I built. Some people, I think, kind of took it the wrong way, or maybe I gave the wrong impression. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the challenge of building that guitar neck for that fellow while he waited. I don't mind at all that he was sitting here in the shop watching me do it. He's paying for it after all, and he's paying a premium. And some people, made the comment that he's butting in line. Well, no, that's not butting in line. I'm sorry, that's a service I offer. And, it brings in more revenue for me. I didn't mean to go down this side path here, but I just thought I will. I'm just giving you some insight to some background, things that you wouldn't know otherwise. You might be interested to know that every single person that's owned this farm since the 1950s has gone bankrupt here. That's the truth. It's an expensive place to operate. And I got to be honest with you, 8 years ago, before I started the YouTube thing, I was on that edge too. I could see it coming, and I wasn't broke at that point, but I could, Mama didn't raise no dummy. I could see that I was headed that way, and I knew I was going to be selling the farm if things didn't change. And so, thank goodness, you all bailed me out. That's the truth of it. Had it not been for that, I'm pretty sure I would have had to sell this farm, because I wasn't going to let myself go bankrupt like the others did. I would have caught it before that. But at my closing, when I bought this farm, there were actually creditors at the closing with their hands out, taking the money from the guy that I bought it from. I mean, that's how bad he was in bankrupt. And everybody prior to that had done the same thing. This is an expensive place, and I can tell you where they lost most of their money. Some of you who've already seen the channel for years are going to know already where the problem is. It's that house, trying to heat it. They would try to heat it with gas or try to heat it with electric, and it would just eat them alive. So anyway, that's a side trip here. That wasn't even planned. That's not even on this list. You got that for free. It didn't cost you one more thing. And anyway, I just wanted to point out that the rental retreat is a service I offer. It brings in more revenue for me. The fact that they're renting the place and the fact that they're paying a premium for me to work on their instrument while they wait and they can take it home with them. So yes, that does butt them in front of the line, but if they're willing to pay for it, I'm willing to do it. And I just want everybody to know that that is a service that is available. And in fact, I'm really telling everybody that way now, because we have so many instruments in the shop. We're so backed up. And if somebody really, really, really wants their instrument fixed, that's the only way you can get it fixed. by us in any reasonable amount of time right now. Now, that doesn't mean we put everything on hold and we're not doing anything. When I'm working on those, typically, Caleb is still working on the instruments that are here in the shop, and if I have a down minute, I'm working on those too. So, it's not like everything just stops when I'm working on the stuff that's here. Visiting and that sort of thing. And speaking of the rental retreat, we had a wonderful guest that was here just a while back. Well, actually, all of our guests have been wonderful. I really should read some of the comments that they have left on the, what do you call it, the journal that we leave up there at the rental retreat. Man, I tell you, I would read them, except that it would just sound too self-serving. So I'm not going to read them, but honestly, the comments have just been so super wonderful, and I want to thank all the people that have stayed here. And there's been a lot, actually. I'm kind of surprised how many there were when I started looking at the comments. But anyway, I specifically want to address one of those this morning here. It was a comment on the video about the guitar neck, and Eddie, was the fellow that I built the guitar neck for, and his daughter left this comment. I'm going to put it on the screen for you right now. And so it's from Darla Walker, and she said, "Thank you so much, Mr. Rosa. Eddie is my daddy, and I can't thank you enough for doing this for him." And, it looks like the comment's barely on the screen there, I can see. Maybe I can fix that. Yeah, I think I can. I'm going to try to fix that real quick here. Yeah, there it is. Mama passed away. After Mama passed away, he has had his music and his instruments to help take his mind off of his grief, and also your videos. You have no idea how much this makes my heart smile. Thank you so much again for being so hospitable. He has done nothing but brag about the amazing trip there. And so, I guess I just say to that, I hope that puts to rest, anything, any hard feelings people would have had about the fact that I did that the way I did it. It sounds like it was a great thing for him, and where she said it makes her heart smile, I can tell you for sure, absolutely 100%, my heart is smiling. So I'm really very, very pleased, and that was a wonderful note, Darla. Thank you so much. And Eddie, if you're watching, you were a true gentleman, and I just enjoyed having you here so much. Okay, moving on. We will take questions again at the end. Please remember to start your question with a question mark, because it's hard to see. They scroll up the screen, and if you put a question mark in the front of it, I can see it that it is a question. In fact, if you put a couple of question marks, that helps. 2 or 3. So please do that. Be ready for that, but don't start the questions yet, because it's going to be a while. We just flew past 63,000 subscribers. I just thought you might be interested to know that exactly to the decimal point, 50% of our viewers are subscribed and 50% are not. And that was 50.00. So it was exactly on that number this morning when I looked. So if you're not subscribed, please do so, when you're watching the videos. And, I say that now, and I know that the folks that are watching this morning, I'm just pretty sure are subscribed. But, these videos go out there and people watch them later. And I'm sure hoping that you will do that for me and subscribe. It takes a lot of work to put these videos out, and I want to hit 100,000 subscribers. I want to get that silly little stupid plaque from YouTube that says you've done it. You've got your 100,000. And I'm pretty sure it's going to break YouTube when we do it too. I thought we've got some good content here. I'm just covering some miscellaneous things that have happened here, so please bear with me. One of the comments that keeps coming in all the time is, you mentioned that you could put down 13 keys on a piano. And I'm assuming you meant the black keys and the white keys. No, I don't mean that. It's just the white keys. 13 white keys. Try that. One of those comments came in this morning, and I answered him back, and he goes, he said that he could put down 16, you know, and I said, no, I'm just talking about the white keys. And he went, wow, that's impressive. So I thought that was funny. Anyway, that's what I'm talking about. It's just the white keys. My hands are not exactly what you call big man hands. In fact, I have little girl wrists. My wrists are tiny. They really are. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. That's how I can, once I get my hand through the sound hole, then I can move around pretty good, you know. But anyway, but my hands aren't thick or big and, you know, heavy like a lot of man's hands are. They're just long fingers. And my granddaughter, she got the long fingers too. She can palm a basketball since she was 12 years old. Crazy. The day she was born, I said, she's got my hands. I was so excited. Let's see, the next thing on my list. Yeah, if you could help me out on the comments too by sharing, or if you could help me out on the comments by telling people that we've covered these particular topics in the Shop Talks to try to get more people watching the Shop Talks. We're up to 155 viewers. That's good. The other thing about the videos, if you could help me by sharing them on social media, if you could, you know, send them out to, you know, Facebook or wherever, and, you know, whatever your choice is, that would sure help too. I would appreciate it very much. Okay, I am still planning to do an in-depth video on stringing. Someone asked for that. But I don't think I'm going to cover it in a Shop Talk. I think I'm going to make it a separate video. That way, when people ask about it, I can refer them to that video. So that'll be coming down the road. I'm not exactly sure when I'll get to it. It's not like I don't have anything else to do. But I'll get to it. Once I say I'll get to it, I will get to it. All right, I want to show you the gifts that came in. You guys are wonderful. You send me the most wonderful things, and here's some gifts that came in just this past week. I'll cut to a video on that. My friends, my viewers are the best. I just got a nice gift from Michael K., owner of the K Ranch in South Texas. He sent a whole bunch of parts. I'm not going to open it up, but it's just tuning keys mostly chrome looking tuning keys. They actually look like shallers for the most part, so it looks like a whole bunch of them too. I mean, like at least 2 or 3 sets, probably 3 or 4 sets. But that's not all he sent. And by the way, it's always good to have those extra used parts. We have quite an abundance right now, to be honest with you, because you guys came through when I asked for that a while back, and we've got our cabinets just full over there. So thank you very much for those parts. As you may know or may not know, I don't charge for used parts, but I often use them to repair old instruments. You know, I just go to the parts store, pull it out, fix the instrument. It's a free service for the customer. Look at this. This is a lot of Antler. So, Michael K., thank you so very much. I always need deer antler, and this is just awesome. I think I pulled out a matching set right there. Just the top 2. Boy, that's nice. Those are really nice. I really thank you, Michael. I really do thank you very, very much. We always need antler. These are more sheds, too. A lot of these are sheds. Yeah, that's a shed. The way I can tell it's a shed is because it still has the nub attached there on the back, on the bottom end there. You can see how it kind of grew into the skull, and that just came off. Versus the ones that were sawn off, you can see the saw marks and how it's cut perfectly square. And some of the antlers have actually been sawn in 2 like that. Those aren't too much good on for mandolin saddles, but this can still make quite a few guitar saddles. The points make good nuts, so all of this is useful. Wow, there's just a lot. Thank you very, very much. That's really a nice load of antler. I sure do appreciate it. Thank you very kindly. Just thought I'd show you a gift I received from Stephen Royer in Altoona, Pennsylvania. He sent me I guess you'd say a pen and pencil holder, a
cup printed. It's got a the Chinese dragon type design on it. It's a very beautiful cup, very solid, very rigid, 3D printed. He sent me a 3D printed neck block. Pretty cool. That can be very useful here. We're always needing things like that. He sent a lot of 3D printed stuff. He sent me a 3D printed handle, which just happens to hold like a screwdriver bit or something like that. And you can unscrew this and put in something else and tighten it down. I'll just give you an example. I was needing a really short Phillips screwdriver just the other day, and I didn't have one this short, so that will work for a situation like that. A knife blade holder, so for a box cutter or whatever. That's pretty cool. This one's really thin, so it'll fit into really tight places. Very nice. It's very strong. His 3D printing is, he knows what he's doing because everything's very rigid, very strong printing. I'm going to assume that this is a sandpaper holder for getting into tight places and things. That's pretty cool. And again, the printing is just excellent on this. I mean, it's really well done. So he must have a very good printer and certainly definitely knows how to use it. And then finally he sent a clip here like this, a spring clip. Those things are kind of handy, you know, just for miscellaneous and assorted things. And right now I don't know what I'll use that for, but got all kinds of goodies here, and I just want to say thank you to Stephen. It's very nice of you to do that and send that stuff to me. And I want to give a little shout out here to James Clevenger, who sent me a nice note letter, said that he enjoys our videos and he wanted to thank me for putting those out. It helps take out some of the mystery for things. He was trying to take out some of the mystery on varnish making for me and sent me some varnish formulas and things that have been used in the past. So I thank you, James. Thank you for watching my videos.
So thanks to everybody for sending me the gifts. I really do appreciate it. I do not want anybody to get the impression that I'm, you know, fishing for gifts. In fact, you know, I just say straight out, no one needs to send me anything. I really do appreciate it when I get stuff. I do occasionally ask for things like the deer antler because that's hard to come by, and I absolutely need the deer antler in order to sell those saddles on the website. So I never get enough deer antler. The old parts and things, as I mentioned, those are just used as a service to my customers. I give those away. I don't charge for used parts and things. Let me see where I'm at on my outline here so I don't forget anything. Let's see. Okay, I wanted to show you the status of a couple of projects. And here's the status of the 12 string first. Does that look like a nice guitar? I'm really happy with it now. It's really starting to come around. Oh my goodness, I'm seriously happy with it. This blue here is where the bridge will go, of course. This is finished with the true oil varnish, so it ought to have a terrific sound. I'll be perfectly honest and tell you that not all of the grain lines are completely filled, the pores, I guess you'd say. But, you know, I started noticing on some of the high-end Martins, and some of those are not completely filled. So I'm in good company. And this is going to be a sweet guitar. It's got a sustain. That long I can hear it, you know. I mean, it's just crazy. Really got the sustain. It's going to be a sweet sounding 12-string guitar. As you know, one of the reasons people keep asking, what's the status? What's the status? Why aren't you putting out the last video? Well, I've had a lot of trouble on this specific one trying to get the grain filled. And so I just kept, you know, applying, taking off, applying, taking off, and just kept doing that. Yes, I know about all kinds of pore fillers, grain fillers, everything. You can't probably name one that I haven't tried, and I don't like any of them. Recently I saw Caleb used aqua coat and it looked like it worked well on the mahogany, but when I used that on the Paduk, it changed the color of it entirely. It didn't even look similar, and I just couldn't, put that on here. So anyway, this is really turning out nice. As you know, we've lost track of this specific customer in Scotland. He paid his deposit for this and everything, and he was staying in touch with us for the longest time, and now we can't get a hold of him. We've already had 3 or 4 people step up to the plate and said they will buy it for the same price. And so I'm sure it's already sold. It's just that I'm holding out for that customer, and that's part of the reason why I haven't been in a huge hurry to finish it. But I just thought I'd let you see it there, because I know it's frustrating not to see the final video. But I put the last varnishes on it about a week ago, and so I'm about ready to start buffing it out here and stringing it up. So it won't be long, hopefully, that you'll see the final video on this. Those of you who know that I've had so much trouble with my hands, especially in my thumb areas, it's gotten to the point where it's worse. I mean, it's just painful. That's why I've returned the deposits on all of the custom instruments that I had to build. I think except one, and that customer was very, very insistent that we still build it for him, and he said it was fine if Caleb did most of the building. So I'm still going to try to get that last one done. We haven't started that one yet, but I have started what I was calling, because I didn't know I was going to do that other one, I was calling this my last hurrah guitar. And I'll just show you the status of it. This is the neck that I actually built for the 12-string when I was absent-minded and forgot that the 12-string was a 12-string instead of a 6-string. So I had already roughed out the neck. So I'm going to step up on my last hurrah guitar here with this neck, which is just roughed out at the moment. I had a giant, big, heavy, I guess you'd call it a cant of rosewood, and it's been in my shop for at least 20 years. Somebody gave it to me, and you can see here, this is what's left of it. It was much, much bigger than this. And so this is what I'm making this whole guitar out of. These are the back boards. Here's the boards that I'm going to use for the back. It's going to be a 3-piece back. And so you can see the boards there that I've cut out. I've got them taped together to keep them in the proper order. That'll be the back. Here's the top, and I've already gone quite a ways on the top, as you can see there. I'll try to hold it still so you can kind of see. That yellow wood is our Osage orange. The brown wood is the cherry here that we cut right on the farm. The Osage orange and cherry were both cut right here. The little tiny binding around there, or purfling, or whatever you want to call it, was furnished to me by my buddy John Manura at AccuSlice. Be sure to check out AccuSlice. It's a pretty cool product. He's got some videos out there. It's AccuSlice. I think that's ACCU and then Slice. If you look that up on YouTube, you'll find him. By the way, that's how I cut all of these boards, these thin boards for the back. I used the AccuSlice to do that out of that big plank. And then here's where I'm at on the sides. And you can see I'm making some pretty good progress. Got the kerf lining in already. Got my neck blocks in and things. You'll notice that this one has an unusual neck block. It's got a tapered neck block in here. And that's because the front is also tapered. And you see this big white thing and you go, well, I've never seen that before. How come you did that? Well, that's because that rough log I had was the length it was. I couldn't stretch it at all. And because I couldn't stretch it, I had to do something up here. And so where the neck is, I made this specific block that should, the neck should cover most of it, but leave a little white border on both sides. And I'm going to use some sort of a decorative trim on that. And, I just had to do what I had to do to make the board be long enough. Now, some of you would possibly criticize that and say, well, if you don't have the right wood, don't build it. I mean, I get those kinds of comments, trust me. And my point is, would you rather just waste the rosewood? I mean, the tree was already cut down and I don't want to waste it, so I'm using it. And, I'm getting near the end of my career. That's just the sad truth. And might as well use up the wood that's in the shop. And so you can see it's perfectly book matched all the way around. It's going to be a beautiful guitar when I'm done with it, but this was the rosewood that's been sitting on the shelf forever and ever and ever. And yes, that particular customer for this did ask for rosewood, so that's why I did what I did. So anyway, that gives you the status of the 12-string and the last hurrah guitar, which I, of course, have not put out any videos on the last hurrah guitar, and it may be a very long time, unfortunately, before you actually see videos on that. Okay, let's see, what's the next thing on my list? Okay, we are down to the laws of Luthiery. I hope you laugh with me on this, not at me. We'll give it a shot. By the way, I have to do a lot of clicking and fun things on this, so if I screw this up, just bear with me. Here we go. Okay, I had to switch. Oh, wait a minute, what's it doing here? These weren't supposed to be shown on the screen until I click on them, but this first one's already there. When you set something down, it must cover something that you will need in the next 5 minutes. That's the first law of Luthiery. I spend half my time looking for stuff on my own table, and I know it's there because I haven't left the table, my workbench, and you'll inevitably set something down and cover up something. So that's the first law. Okay, second law of Luthiery is, regardless what you've been told and know to be true, tools do have legs and they use them. That's a fact. Okay, the next law of Luthiery is, whenever you have a 50-50 chance to do something, there's a 90% chance you will get it wrong. At least for me it is. That's a black and white fact. Okay, the next one. The customer will never notice nor mention your best work on the instrument. That's sad but true. So if you're thinking about getting into this business, you should think about these things because they're all true. Ask me how I know. Just ask me how I know. If you are bold enough to point out or mention your best work on an instrument, the customer will say something like, oh, that's nice, but why didn't you, it's just a fact. It's just a fact. Those of you who work on instruments, I guarantee you can relate to this. 20% of your time is spent building the instrument. 80% of your time is spent decorating and finishing it. That was not necessarily humorous. That's just a black and white fact. And you will learn that if you start building instruments and if you really care what they look like. You can get through them much, much faster. Don't get me wrong. I could build a whole instrument and have it ready to play in a month. In a week. There's no question I could do that. But it's going to kind of look like that too. If you really want it to look like something, that's where the time gets spent. Trust me. Okay, the seventh law of Luthiery. Here we go. Everyone thinks they have a real Stradivarius. Oh, that one's probably the most true of all of them. Everybody that walks through the door with an old violin, fiddle, they go, I've got this Stradivarius violin. My grandpa had this, And, you try to be nice and you try to explain to them, it's a copy. It's a copy. And 99.9999999% of them are copies. Trust me. So you know, they pretty much know where all the real Stradivari violins are. Let me just explain it like that. And if you happen to have one, you are one lucky dude. Because you can take that to the bank and buy another house easy. Maybe 2 or 3 mansions, actually. Okay, the next one, the law number 8. Regardless of the customer's insistence, cat hair inside the instrument does not enhance the sound. Now, just keep that in mind if you're starting this business. Caleb, you be sure to remember that. That one's sad but true, too. You would not believe how many coffee cans full of cat hair I've dug out of instruments. And I'm not kidding you. One of them, by itself, had a coffee can full of hair in it. And I'm not exaggerating. That's a true story. That is a true, 100% true story. And he wondered why the instrument just didn't sound like it used to. It cracks me up. It really does when you think about these things. Okay, number 9. Remember, the customer is always right, except when they're wrong. And even then, if they insist, in fact, they are right. That's pretty much true of any business, of anything that happens with a customer. You know, if you don't think of it like that, you'll be out of business before too long. And number 10, let's see here. We're getting down to the finale. These are not necessarily in any particular order, so don't think that number 11 is going to be some big grand finale, okay? Because it's not. It's just another example. Number 10, if you are depending on word of mouth to spread your business, you better remember that there are 2 kinds of word of mouth. Oh my goodness. Yeah, don't I know that one. And number 11, let's see what number 11 is. At the very moment you believe you have invented or improved or generally thought of something that no one else has ever considered, you will discover that someone already did that back in the 1920s. That's another black and white fact. If you don't believe it, just try it. You'll see. Okay, I hope that wasn't a big dud. I hope you enjoyed that. I haven't obviously seen the comments yet or anything. If there, maybe you're all just stunned. Maybe there's no comments. Okay, so that was the laws of Luthiery. Now, we have, let me see if I have anything else between here. Okay, I have another little video clip. I had a visitor who I consider to be, you know, kind of a high-end visitor. Bruce Punches is pretty well known on the bluegrass circuit, especially in the Missouri area. And he branches out quite a bit, and a very, very good musician. His whole family plays, and they have a great band. So Bruce visited the shop the other day and brought a friend with him, and so here's a clip from that. Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Workshop. We've got Bruce Punches and his buddy Jeff. And Jeff, what's your last name?
Jones.
Jones. It's a hard name. That's why I couldn't remember it. You know me in names. You already know I can't remember them. Bruce is one fantastic musician. I've known him for years and years. He's well known on the bluegrass circuit and can play anything with strings on it. And he's got a hold of one of my sycamore mandolins. I said, why don't you pick a tune or two on video for these folks? And so I know you'll enjoy this. So Bruce, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Clear as a bell.
Yeah, it's got a ring to it. It's a pretty loud mandolin, actually.
Got a good boxy chop.
It cuts through. My viewers will enjoy hearing this story too. But the first day I built this, I brought it into my band. You know, it was green, you know, and that day, and Beverly Spencer, she
she heard me play it, and she goes, well, it's a nice mandolin, but it's not near as loud as your other mandolins. That's what she said to me. And then
It's plenty loud.
Nowadays she goes, could you not play that so loud?
They get better with age.
Yeah, they do. They get a little more volume. That was not all that old. It's a few years old. I think I built that one around 2013, something like that.
It's real even up and down different keys, up and down the neck.
Yeah. I'll tell you, sycamore is hard to beat on a wood for mandolins and for violins. Sycamore's really resonant. I mean, it's really resonant. Compared to if you pick up the sycamore tappet and you pick up a piece of maple tappet, same size exactly, the sycamore outdoes it 3 to 1.
I'll be darned.
I mean, it's a huge difference.
Well, it's a beautiful mandolin, and it just sounds and plays great.
But anyway, and I always take the finish off the neck. I don't know if you've ever done that or not.
Yeah.
I always.
Well, I haven't taken it off. It's just worn off over the years.
It's worn off over the years. Yeah. Well, I think I play a lot, but I know he plays a whole lot more.
Not so much these days. It seems this has been a weird year.
Yeah, this last year for sure. Yeah.
Nobody's been playing a lot.
Yeah. And Jeff is from Plano, Texas, right?
Yeah, that's right.
They came up to visit, and just FYI, we've got visitors from Louisiana here this weekend as well. So it's nice to have a bunch of folks come in here. It gives me a little break from all the monotony.
Well, it was nice to see Bruce. I hadn't seen Bruce in a long time, actually, probably 10 or 15 years, I imagine. Something like that anyway. I just thought I might, I had a thought, and I think it's just left. I will warn you ahead of time here that we are getting close to when I want to get the questions, so if you want to, start making up your questions or thinking of your questions and getting ready to post those here in just a moment. Before we get to that, I have a little behind the scenes clip I want to play for you, and this is about editing videos. And it just shows you some of the tedium that I go through, and some of you will instantly say you don't need to go through all that, but you really have to. I mean, there's just no options here. So take a look at this. I thought you might get a kick out of seeing the before and after of editing a video. I think you can see and hopefully can hear what's going on here in this video. So here we go. I'll play it right now and I'll let you hear a before. Well, it leaves a fairly symmetrical crack on both sides. This is the closest thing I've come to having something straight and square on this guitar. I think that's what I'm going with because I don't know what else to try. Okay, so you know there's nothing horribly wrong about that. It's just there's a lot of pregnant pauses in there. So now I'm going to take those out, and I should be able to just Control Y, which would do a redo and put them back in. I'm hoping it will. And it's taking out those pregnant pauses because I've already done this, and then I did an undo, and then I'm doing a redo. So here we go. All right, so I think we'll play the same thing, and you'll hear the difference, and hopefully it's going to sound a little better, and you'll see that there's no pauses in there. That does line up with the front edge of this fairly well. It leaves a fairly symmetrical crack on both sides. This is the closest thing I've come to having something straight and square on this guitar. I think that's what I'm going with because I don't know what else to try. So you can see there, it just flows a lot better. Now granted, it does cause a little bit of jerking in the video, but you know, and I only took out a few seconds there, and maybe in that little strip of video there that I took out 5 seconds worth of pauses. But when you stretch that out over hours and hours of video clips, and you can see the video clips up here. Now that's just a portion of them. Let me slide this up and you'll see how many more video clips are in this. Look at how many, there's a lot of video clips here. So when you got to go through every single clip, and each one of those clips is probably averages at least 5 to 10 minutes long, and some of them are much longer, 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes long.
So, you know, you got to go through every single clip and shorten them up and get rid of the junk. Now, that's just a very simple example. Some of them have much, much longer pauses. They might have a 1 or 2 minute pause in there. And the only way you know that is if you go through the video and look at it. Now, I don't do that intentionally. I try to keep the camera turned off when it's not being used. But, you know, you make mistakes and you get busy and you forget to turn the camera off or whatever. So you got to go through all of these clips, and it just takes forever. And that's just a very high level, very simple example. So that might give you some idea of what goes on behind the scenes.
Well, I thought you might enjoy just seeing, you know, what that looks like doing a little bit of editing. And speaking of editing, and speaking of Eddie, Eddie and editing, Eddie's video about the building that neck on that guitar, I will actually probably spend the rest of the day into the wee hours of the night trying to get that video edited for you. It's going to take, I know it's going to take all day today and probably a big part of tomorrow to get that thing edited. But I know you're anxious to see part 2 of building Eddie's custom neck while he waited here. So we'll get that video out to you just as quick as we can. That's what Melissa was doing, but Melissa hasn't been here this week either. So she wasn't here last week nor this week, and so she claims she's coming back, but you know, haven't seen her. So I'm the one stuck doing that for now. I think we're just about ready to start taking those questions. I just thought I'd mention I'm selling a lot of the Nashville number system training. If you don't know what that is, it's just training on how to play the mandolin. And the mandolin is very, very in-depth training. It takes you from start to finish on everything, even how to hold the pick. The Nashville number system training on the guitar is not quite so in-depth, but both of them teach you how to play the instrument, or it's really more how to understand chords with the instrument and how they relate to one another and how they go together. As I mentioned, the mandolin training is super in-depth. The guitar training is a little more high level, but you can certainly understand the Nashville number system if you go through that training. And both of those are available on my website. You can also book the stays at the rental retreat on my website, or at least get the ball rolling there. Let me look at the comments. I see Elderly Iron. For every hour of recording, there is an hour of watching. Hence, it literally takes more than twice as long to do a job. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I honestly think it takes me, and I don't think I'm exaggerating. I think it takes me 4 times as long to put the video out as it did to do the work. And I'd say at least 4 times. In other words, if it took me 8 hours of solid work to do the job, it'll take me 32 hours to put the video out. I don't think I'm exaggerating at all on that. Now, Elderly Iron, he's my buddy Jeff Bradshaw out there. Be sure to check his channel out too, by the way. He's got some great videos on, repairing old trucks and old things out there on the farm, and just miscellaneous videos a lot lately too, so you'll enjoy it. But, and matter of fact, he kind of gave me a boost up when I first started my channel. He mentioned me, and we kind of did a little collaboration together there where I worked on his guitar and he played it and stuff on his channel, and so it was kind of cool. So thank you, Jeff. I always appreciate that. Here we've got a question from Bob. It says, how is your tractor running? It is running, knock on wood. My table's wood. It is running like a top. It really is. It's just absolutely running better than I think it's ever run since we've owned it. It really does sound good. It just sounds perfect. And I guess that electronic ignition helped with that a little bit too. But now that the head gasket's been fixed, it's working great. Any other questions? I don't see any at the moment. I'm looking. We may have to just cut her short here, and actually it's not that short. Yeah, for me it says it takes 8 hours for a 1 hour movie. including music, text, and overlays. Yeah, I'd say at least 8 hours. In fact, I think it takes me longer than that, honestly. Maybe I'm just slow. I don't know. But, I think the difference is for us, we have so many hours of clips. I mean, like even if the work took us 8 hours, we probably have clips that are much longer than the 8 hours. Partly because you forget to turn the camera off, or partly because you're doing miscellaneous things that I don't actually charge for sometimes. I actually do a lot of work off camera on a lot of things that I don't even charge for. Here's some questions coming in. Have you seen the guitar vibrating device demonstration on Randy's channel? It's used to open up a guitar. Yeah, I believe I did see that, Jeff. Yeah, and I don't have a problem with that. I think that's vibrating an instrument, people, there's the old wives' tale about setting your instrument in front of a speaker to let it vibrate. I don't think that's a bad idea. I don't think it hurts anything. I'm not 100% sure it really works, but I don't think it hurts anything. So there you go. How do you remove CA glue from your fingers? A very sharp knife. No, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine on that. They do make CA glue, removers, and I've used that on my fingers. Probably people would frown on that because, of the chemicals involved, but I've done it, and, I've used acetone on my fingers, and I know you're not supposed to do that either, so there you go. But otherwise, you pretty much just either have to let it wear off or peel off or bite it off or something. How wide should the gap be on the bottom side of the mandolin bridge? About to add one to mine. The gap be on the bottom side of the mandolin bridge. Well, I guess you're talking about an adjustable bridge, and there's a hollow spot under the bridge, I guess is what you're saying. The hollow spot doesn't make much difference how big it is or how small it is. What really matters is whether the feet match up to your top really, really well. You just want your feet to be making as good a contact as you can possibly make with your top, and you want it standing perfectly vertical. And even when I do it, I sand it slightly back of vertical. In other words, not slanted toward the peg head, but slanted away from the peg head and slanted toward the tailpiece. And I'm only talking just a tiny bit, because always bridges pull forward. So that would be your best tip on how to set the bridge there, would be to, it's like if you're using sandpaper and you're sanding it, the feet like this on top of your instrument to make it match the contour, that just put a slight amount of pressure on the back side as you do that, so that it just sits better, and the strings pulling forward will keep it in the vertical position better. Let's see. Cheers from Patagonia. Wow, that's cool. I think Patagonia is such a cool place. I've only seen it in videos, but it really looks cool. What do I do with a truss rod that is rattling and not because it's loose? Well, you get those sympathetic vibrations and things like that happen on an instrument, and if you've got one on your truss rod like that, I don't know. I don't know that there's an easy solution. If someone has an easy solution, maybe you could post it. But, the only thing there's only two things I can think of there. One of them would be to tighten it a little bit more. Could have negative results a different way, but, I would possibly try that. I think before I do anything else is try tightening it a little bit more. But then if that doesn't work, then about the only option I can honestly think of is to remove the fingerboard and fix it, one way or the other. More likes, please. Yeah, I'll take more likes. 206 viewers. Yeah, cool. We broke our 200. That's good. Back when we were doing this originally, we seemed to be breaking 300, which is wonderful. I hope we can get back up to that. By the way, I haven't seen a single comment about the talk today. Is it breaking up a lot, or is it going okay? Like I said, I have everything that I can possibly turn off turned off, including my phone, including my tablet. Everything is turned off. Okay, I don't see any more questions, and we're getting near our hour time, so I think I'm probably just going to call it right here. I hope you got something out of today's visit. I hope it at least was a little bit of fun time for you. And we'll, like I said, probably won't have one next week because I'll be down in Mountain View, Arkansas. And, just probably won't be able to do anything live from there. One last question here. What would happen if you made an antler bridge for a fiddle? I would imagine it would probably be a little bit too harsh. I haven't done it, I'll be truthful. I have capped banjos with antler, banjo bridges with antler, and I have capped bass bridges with antler, and they sounded fine. You could probably cap the violin bridge with it, but the cap would be so thin and so tiny, I'm not sure it would work well. But if you could make that happen, it probably would sound fine. I don't think I'd make the whole thing out of antler. All of a sudden, there's a lot of things scrolling up here. Cypress wood. What about cypress wood? Well, I don't know a thing about cypress. I know a lot about sycamore. Sycamore is a great wood, but cypress I know nothing about, to be perfectly honest with you. Okay, well, thank you so very, very much for tuning in this morning. I enjoyed it. I hope you thought my 11 laws of Luthiery were kind of funny, but they are definitely true. We'll see you next in 2 weeks, I guess.